So what I'm saying is for today is just to continue on Khan Academy for the Pythagorean theorem, and also do the Math is Fun quiz if you didn't have a chance to do it yesterday. I will send you, I'm looking for a PDF for word problems. So once I find one, I will text that to you so that you can get a little bit more practice. And then we'll probably do this one more day tomorrow, and then we'll move on to the other quadrilaterals. So this first one, this does have a picture, but what we were saying yesterday is sometimes you can just get the story without a picture. So this one is problem number 1. We're just going to do 3 of them. It says the diagram below shows the roof of a house. Suppose you need to replace a beam that connects the 2 sides of the roof. How long should the beam be? So this is the first one that we're going to look at. And here's the roof. So you're looking at the triangle that they made. And like we were saying yesterday, the 90-degree angle could be at the side, at the top, at the bottom, or what we're calling the base. So you just have to get to use your imagination when you're doing geometry, because a lot of times in the problems, the shapes are abstract. So they're giving you a shape, but they might be applying it to a roof, a garden, television, you know, whatever it is. So take a minute and see if you can figure out how long should the beam be. So here, if you can see the screen, you've got a measurement. You have another line, and then this is the question mark. So this is the beam that they're talking about. And you're going to take the Pythagorean theorem formula and figure out what is the question mark. So when you feel like you have the answer, just shout it out.
Can you get 25?
How much?
Is it 25?
Nope.
The square root of 1,250?
Yes, so what is the square root?
Okay.
Like the check mark?
Yep, so now you have to figure out what the square root is. So this one's not multiple choice.
35.
Yes, that's it. So let me just, someone's having a hard time coming in. Let me send her the link and then go back to this page. Okay, so you should have 35. If you got the 1,250, that means that you did the problem correctly. It just depends on how the answers are listed. So this one is just reminding you, is saying that the beam is the horizontal line. That's where the question mark was. Its length is shown with the red line. And then it says, notice that the sides of the roof have the same length. So because only one side is measured, you're using the formula. And they're writing the formula with the C squared equals because they're going by the question mark. So we had the formula yesterday as a squared plus b squared equals c squared, but this is essentially, you know, the same thing. It's just starting with the question, which is c squared equals 2a plus 2b. So what they did was put 25 for both sides because they are equal. You got up to the 1,250 by saying 625 plus 625. But now you have to take the square root of that number to get the actual length of the beam. So in this case, it's 35.35. So great work. Let me show you the second one. Okay, so this is one that we kind of mentioned yesterday. It says, John leaves school to go home. He walks 6 blocks north and then 8 blocks west. How far is John from school? So that might be the one that you want to draw out, like we were saying. Whenever they're giving something with directions, you want to have the map reading skill of just saying north is at the top, south is at the bottom, west is to the left, east is to the right. So if you do a little compass on your scrap paper, or you're thinking of that in your mind, you can draw out where he's starting. So it says John leaves school to go home. So you're starting at school, right? Because that's the beginning of the word problem. He walks 6 blocks north and then 8 blocks west. So now that idea of how far is he from school, what they're saying is how far is he in the shortest possible distance, which is going to complete a triangle. So you have to be thinking it's not just the 6 plus 8, because that could be on your multiple choice, just saying 6 plus 8. You want to draw a diagonal from where he started at school to where he ended up at home.
Yeah, I was pretty, I was inebriated, but not beyond belief. We're in a college atmosphere, and I tripped on the rug and I'm falling over, and that's what you want.
Your Honor, I was there at this party specifically to support Bill. So when Bill approached me, I was trying to just be polite for his sake.
So any
10.
solutions? I think I heard someone say it, yes. 10. So if you got 10, you're using the formula correctly. Let's take a look at it. So this is what they have that you want to remember. And then this is the diagram that they kind of drew for themselves. That you're starting at school, you went 6 blocks north and then 8 blocks west. So this is where you're going to have that right angle. And then drawing the shortest distance from the 2 points is the diagonal. So sometimes this happens if you, like when you just walk around the block, like you can't necessarily cut through a building, but that might be the most direct way or the shortest distance. So you might not always be able to cut through a parking lot. So this is just the concept of creating a right triangle. That's from the storytelling. And we saw one that was like, it's this amount of space from this city to this city. Here it's just from home to school, but you can see this kind of problem in a lot of different ways where they're giving you the directions to draw out a shape. Sometimes they can give you the directions to draw out a rectangle. Excuse me. So if they say you started here, you went north, you went west, you came south, and you came back to your starting point, then what you have to imagine is that you drew the rectangle then. So all you're doing is, being able to translate the word problem into a shape, and then you're using the 6 and the 8 as the 2 legs of the triangle. It's telling you that the distance from school distance from school to home is the hypotenuse, because that's going to be the diagonal. So again, because they're asking for the hypotenuse, they started with the c squared. So you have c squared equals a squared plus b squared as the Pythagorean theorem formula that we're memorizing. They replaced the 2 legs, which it doesn't matter which one is A and which one is B. All that matters is that you always know that C is the diagonal. So when you do 6 times 6 and 8 times 8, you get 36 plus 64 is 100. And then you want to remember that you're taking the square root of 100, which is 10. And this is going to be the last one. So this is the one that we said is also very popular. Sometimes they have the tree. I've seen sliding boards too, where you have to walk up the ladder, go down the slide, and then the ground is the bottom part of the triangle. So what you're thinking is a couple of popular references that would make a right triangle. So this one is very popular. This one is the ladder. So it says a 13-foot or 13 feet ladder is placed 5 feet away from a wall. The distance from the ground straight up to the top of the wall is 13 feet. Will the ladder reach the top of the wall?
Okay, 13 feet. 13 feet. Ladder. Okay.
This one.
13 feet. Ladder.
192.
So how many people are voting for yes, it's gonna reach the top of the wall?
I do.
It should
And
reach.
how many people are voting for no?
I say no. I say no.
So this one, you might just be thinking it's no automatically, right? Because the wall is 13 feet and the ladder is 13 feet, but it's already slanted 5 feet away from the wall. But you can prove that it's actually a no by using the Pythagorean theorem again. So if I scroll down a little bit, you'll see the drawing, but this, a lot of times this is not on your test. You have to kind of imagine this yourself. So you want to write the wall is a leg again. How far away from the wall the ladder is another leg. So here we have the wall. They said it was 5 feet away, and they said the ladder is 13 feet. So this time they're giving you the C side of the triangle. So what you want to do is replace C with 13 and replace an A or a B, which I would say maybe this is A, with 5 feet. So when you're doing the Pythagorean theorem, you've got 13 squared equals 5 squared plus B squared. So what we said before yesterday is that if you get the diagonal, that means you're going to end up doing subtraction, which is relying on your algebra skills. So when you do the squaring, you have 13 times 13 is 169. 5 times 5 is 25. And then you're leaving the b squared because you don't know if it's going to go up to the wall, right? So what you have to do is subtract the 25 on both sides. So here you have 169 minus 25. And then you have 25 minus 25. So all that you really end up with is just the b squared equals 144. And from knowing the multiplication table, you probably don't even need to do the square root of that. It's going to be b equals the square root of 144, which is 12. So this step right here where you're leaving the b squared and you get that number, the next step is to take the square root of the number. And then that would leave you with just b that's not getting squared. So when you get 12, it's saying that it's only going to reach 12 feet high from the ground. So it's never going to reach the top. And this is sometimes what, you know, these are skills that people are actually using when they're deciding, especially in construction, and you know, you have to understand geometry. So sometimes we say things like, oh, you know, we're never going to use these formulas. But the truth is people are using them all the time. And the idea of knowing what you need or where you need to go based on the little bit of information that you have is an important skill. So like we said, the math test is not only about the formulas, it's really also about reading, applying information that you do know to solve a problem. And that's the reason why the test is the way that it is, with a combination of different kinds of math, with a combination of word problems, just so that you can show that you can use information that you're given to solve a problem. So these were the 3 word problems for today to kind of try out live. I'm going to add the Khan Academy word problems for the Pythagorean theorem, but you can still work through the video from yesterday or the videos from yesterday and do the Math is Fun quiz, which I did text everyone if you are on Remind. And then I'm not sure if everybody had a chance to take a look at the article, so I'm just going to show you where it is. And then we will discuss questions 1, 2, and 3 tomorrow as we wrap up the Pythagorean theorem. So the link that I sent you for the New York Times, it's a couple days old now, so the stimulus package is in the news a lot. What I think is really interesting about it, as more information comes out, they said that even if people are paying taxes, they won't get a check if they don't have a valid social security number. If they're using like an EIN number or a TIN number, or if they're undocumented for some reason. So even if people are working and pay taxes, they're not necessarily going to get part of the stimulus package. So as more information comes out every day, it's really interesting, you know, but this is a landmark type of passage. So this was the article. This was what I sent, which is the setup of the article. So it gives you the idea of what the lesson is. And we're just using this as conversation, just like the video. And we are obviously dealing with it because we're in class on Zoom. But what it's saying is March 25th, which was last week, there's about a $2 trillion rescue package to confront the coronavirus pandemic. So this is the largest economic stimulus in modern history. And some of the things that are included are linked in this article. So because this is a blog for the New York Times, they're linking to New York Times articles. So it's saying the warm-up is that the coronavirus has a profound impact on every aspect of our society, including the economy. So here, every time you see a link, these are other articles that you could click on. This is what I sent you on text. How has the coronavirus impacted you, your family, and your community? Specifically, how has it affected economic activity where you live? So for us, New Jersey is one of the states that did I don't want to say a lockdown, that did a suggestion to stay home and a business shutdown quickly, right? Because we're at, this is really a travel hub, being close to New York and having international airports. So New Jersey is going to, and it's very populated. It's an urban area where people are really on top of each other, similar to New York, even though we're a really tiny state. So we're one of the first people who did say there's a curfew, you know, school has ended, and this idea of really having the social distancing happened here first compared to a lot of other places like in Middle America. What we're seeing is that it happened on the West Coast now, it happened in Florida, it's happened all along the East Coast. So, you know, different cities in the South, and is moving across the United States with what people are making decisions on how to close businesses, whether or not that's going to affect unemployment. So you can take a look at these other links, but it's not necessarily necessary to answer the questions. So coming down a little bit more, when you see this, this is what we're actually going to do. So where it says questions for writing and discussion, we're just using it for discussion, but you can write down any notes if you want to. What it says is to read the article. So this is where you're actually going to click on the article. But then these are the questions that we're just going to talk about. So the goal is just to do a little bit each day as we do this to add to our math or our science, just to change it up a little bit. So what makes the stimulus package so significant? We kind of already said that, is that it's a lot of money. It's the first time that the government has done this. So what we're going to talk about tomorrow is what challenges did Congress face in striking the deal? So this is just relevant for understanding the United States government, which is normally always on your social studies test. This other one we'll talk about tomorrow. It says the article includes 5 takeaways from the stimulus bill. Just choose one of them and explain in your own words who it supports and how. If at all, how, if at all, this measure will provide relief to the economy and individuals. So then Thursday, you're just thinking back to the question that I sent you in text. Does the stimulus address any of the challenges your family or community is facing? So like yesterday, we just talked real quick about the video saying there are people who aren't going to school who may really want to go to school.
like every time
excuse me, and people who have to work from home who don't necessarily, they're not prepared with the internet or laptops or that type of thing. So is it really addressing the challenges that someone that you know or you specifically is facing? And then the last question for Friday, what is your reaction? Do you think it goes too far or not far enough? Why? And who or what do you think is missing from the package? So I'm sure you might be catching the news every now and then. I have to detox from the news. So I actually didn't watch it yesterday, but I know that this is definitely in the news every couple of hours when I was watching over the weekend.
All day.
So this, what'd you say?
All day. The news.
I know, right? It's just recycled. So I'm sure you probably have heard a lot of opinions. So by Friday, we're just gonna talk about our opinion. So the link that I sent you is to the actual lesson.
That's the beauty of your
When you get to the questions, that's where the article is always going to be. So when you click read the article, it's now just going to the link on the New York Times regular page. And this is the article. So it's not too long. The subtitles or these headings right here is where they're talking about some of the takeaways. So it says, here's what's in the package. The government will send direct payments to taxpayers, which we know is not all taxpayers. Some people are going to make too much money, right? And then some people are not going to qualify. Then some people, even if they make enough less money to qualify, they're not going to qualify because they don't have the Social Security number. Then there's unemployment, small business, distressed companies, and hospitals. So that's really what you're looking at, is those small paragraphs about what the package is really including. And you're going to pick one of those areas to answer the other question. So let me stop sharing.
Yeah. But honestly, this was not
And stop.